Hello, this is Mr. Price, and this is your video on the Unit 12 on solving equations. Now, throughout these questions that I'm about to show you, I will do them on a calculator, and that is mainly because I'm just testing the theory of you being able to solve equations, and I'm not really too worried about the numerical processes. For some of them, especially when it comes to squaring and square rooting, I will tell you both. But for now, I will do all questions on a calculator and show you some of the calculator skills as well. Okay, let's start on the stage 1 questions. Now, my question states it is 3a equals 162. Okay, so our a is being multiplied by 3. So this means to get a by itself, I need to cancel out this 3, which is dividing by 3. Okay, so 162 divided by 3, 162 divided by 3 is 54. And then 3a divided by 3 is 1a, or just a, so a is equal to 54. Okay, please show your workings out of what you're doing to both sides. You don't if you want, you don't really need if you need to do this. You don't really need to do that. So 162 divided by 3, it's not necessary. It's implied by doing this. Okay? So 54 is our answer for the first one. Okay. Next question was b divided by 4 equals 2.5. So b divided by 4 is equal to 2.5. So I want to do the opposite of dividing by 4, which is multiplying by 4. So I multiply 4 on both sides. 2.5 times 4. Okay, you might be able to do by doing 25 times 4 and then dividing by 10, or just on the calculator. We're going to get the answer 10. Okay, and then b divided by 4 times 4. Well, these are going to cancel. So I'm just going to be left with b on the left hand side. So I end up with b equals 10. So 10 is our answer for number 2. Okay, question 3 was c plus 12 equals 109. So the opposite of adding 12 is taking away 12. So I do this to both sides. Okay, so 109 minus, beg your pardon, 12 is 97. And this take away 12 and this plus 12 cancel, so that's with just c. So c equals 97. Okay, now this one was a little bit trickier. We've got 1,260 divided by d equals 210. Now, there's a few ways that we can do this question. Now, the way that I would usually recommend is we don't like having our unknown at the bottom of a fraction. Okay, because we can't multiply 1,260 because it doesn't cancel out the 1,260. And we can't divide by 1,260 because I still have d at the bottom of my fraction. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do something called the reciprocal, which is just a fancy maths way of saying that I'm going to flip the fraction upside down. And I'll show the reciprocal using this symbol here. Okay, now don't worry too much about using that symbol because it will become more clear when we do index form. But for now, I'm going to do the reciprocal, which means to flip both sides upside down. So I'm going to have the d now at the top with 1,260 at the bottom of the fraction. And now I'm going to have 210 at the bottom of the fraction. And now a 1 at the top. Okay, if you're not sure why I did this, I can rewrite 210 as a fraction as 210 divided by 1. And as you can see, 210 divided by 1 is 210. So when I flip that upside down, I've now got a 1 on my numerator. Okay, now I can get rid of this 1,260 by the opposite of dividing by 1260, which is multiplying by 1260. So I'll multiply both sides by 1260. That will cancel out the divide by 1260, so I'll have d equals, and now here, there's a couple of ways I can write this, but I would recommend just doing this as 1260 divided by 210, which you can do on your calculator, which gives you the answer 6. Okay, so if you're not quite sure why I've done 1260 divided by 210, that's because you multiply the numerators together, so 1 and 1260, so you get 1260 at the top of the fraction, and then nothing's happened to the denominator, so that stays as it is. So there's our answer, 6. I think that's possibly the one that you're going to get the most difficulty with. You may want to rewind and watch the video a couple more times on this little bit, and if you need any further assistance on that question, you come and find some help on that particular bit. Okay, let's have a look at the stage 2 questions. So here we will need to do 2 pieces of rearranging to get our value by itself. So I have 2e minus 9 equals 15. Now, at the moment, I can't cancel out this 2 by dividing by 2, because this minus 9 will also be divided by 2. So it doesn't get me any closer to working out the value of e. So instead, I'm going to get rid of this take away 9. And the opposite of that is adding 9. So those will cancel, but I've got to do it to the other side so it balances. So I'm going to get 2e is equal to 15 plus 9. So that is 20. Sorry, beg your pardon. I was about to put 26. 24, beg your pardon. Okay. And now I want to cancel out this 2 multiplied by e by dividing by 2. And now I will get e is equal to 24 divided by 2, which is 12. Okay, next question. F over 3 plus 6 is equal to 1521. So again, I can't multiply by 3 to both sides, because then it will affect this plus 6 as well. So I'm instead going to get rid of this plus 6 first. So I'm going to take away 6 from both sides. Okay, that take away 6 and that plus 6 cancels, so I'm left with just f divided by 3. And then 1521 subtract 6 is going to give you 1505. So 1515. Beg your pardon, I said that a little bit wrong. And then to get rid of this divide by 3, we're going to multiply by 3. Those cancel with a divide, so left with f equals 1515 divided by 3, multiplied by 3, beg your pardon, gives you 4545. That's it. You might be tempted to try and divide by 3 here to make the number smaller, but it's just making sure that you do the opposites of these. There's your final answer. Okay, let's move on to the other question. Now this one is also a little bit more challenging, but it looks quite innocent. 5 minus g over 2 equals negative 15. Okay, so first thing I'm going to want to do is get rid of this number here. Now here, be careful. It might be tempting to try and to add it, because it looks like it's a subtract sign, but actually there's an invisible plus sign in front of the 5. It's positive 5, take away this. So it's a positive 5, so I take away 5 from both sides. That cancels with this, so you end up with negative g over 2. That negative sign doesn't suddenly disappear, it comes down with the rest of the question, equals negative 20. Negative 15, take away 5 is negative 20. And now, to get rid of a negative divide by 2, I multiply by negative 2. Again, this step here might also be a little bit confusing. Okay, this is g divided by -2, so I multiply by -2 to make it a positive g. So that cancels with this, so we get g equals, now -20 multiplied by -2, well 20 times 2 is 40, and negative multiplied by a negative will give us a positive result, so our answer is g equals 40. Okay, next question. H squared divided by 2 equals 72. Now at the moment I can't square root both sides, otherwise this divide by 2 will also get square rooted. So I'm going to get rid of this divide by 2 first by multiplying by 2. So you get h squared equals 144. And now you can square root both sides, because the opposite of squaring is square rooting. And now you've got two choices here. You either know which which number multiplies by itself to give 144, or you can use your calculator and do the square root of 144, and that is 12. Now, if you put this as your final answer, for now, this isn't too bad, but see if you can get into the habit of whenever you square root a number, put a positive or negative 12 here. Now, you might be wondering why I've done this, and the reason is over here. So, if I have positive 12 and I square it, I'm going to get 144. If I have negative 12 and I square it, negative 12 times negative 12 is also 144. So the reason I put this symbol in here is because I don't know if the answer is positive 12 or negative 12, because there are two possible answers. I don't know which one there is, because both give me the same number. So that is why I have positive or negative 12 as my final answer there. If you're not too sure about this, you can always ask me for help on this one. Okay, final set of questions, stage 3. So there could be multiple steps to doing these questions. So I have 6i take away 3 over 9 is equal to 7. So, first thing I'm going to do is get rid of this divide by 9 symbol, because it's affecting everything on the top here. So I'm going to multiply 9 to both sides. And I end up with 6i take away 3 is equal to 7 9s are 63. Okay, so that times 9 cancels out with that divide by 9. Now, sometimes it's tempting to multiply the 6i and then take away the negative 3 by 9, but it doesn't, it just cancels out those two. So 6i take away 3 equals 63. Now I'm going to get rid of the take away 3 by adding 3. End up with 6i equals 66. And now I want to divide both sides by 6 to get the I by itself. So I equals 11. Okay. Penultimate question. 2j over 3 plus 3 equals 13. Now, in the last question, I tried to get rid of the divide by 9 first, but on this question, I'm going to get rid of this plus 3 first, because the divide symbol is not affecting this plus 3 here. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is take away 3 from both sides. So I'm going to end up with 2j over 3 equals 10. And now you can either try and be fancy and divide by 2/3, or you're going to take it slower and get rid of the divide by 3 first by multiplying by 3. So I'm going to get 2j equals 30, and then divide by 2. So j equals 15. Okay, for the penultimate question, I have 2 lots of 5k squared minus 9 all over 4 equals 155.5. Now I'm going to do this 2 ways in a moment, but first step is I don't like having this divided by 4 because this has all been divided by 4. So I'm going to multiply by 4 both sides first. So I'm going to get 2 lots of 5k squared minus 9, because those cancel, equals 155.5, which is 622. Okay, and here's where I'm going to split my page in half, because I've got 2 possible ways of doing this. And I don't mind which way you've done this, but I'm going to show you both of them. Okay, your first step is to do the opposite of multiplying all this by 2, which is by dividing by 2. So that cancels out with this. So you end up with 5k squared minus 9 equals 311. I now add 9 to both sides. And you get 5k squared equals 320. I'm now going to divide both sides by 5. So I'm going to get k squared equals 64. And therefore, I'm going to square root both sides, and I'm going to get k is equal to 8. Now have a little think here. Is this finished? And the answer is, you can give a better answer by remembering that the value of 8 could be positive or negative, and we will still get the same answer. Let's show you the second way you could have done this. So, you might have also been tempted to expand the bracket first. So 2 lots of 5k squared is 10k squared. 2 lots of negative 9 is negative 18. So now I'm going to get 10k squared equals 640, because I want to add 18 to both sides. And now divide by 10, and I get k squared equals 64, back to where I started. So square root both sides, I have k is equal to positive or negative